The fifth and final book of Moses recounts Moses' last statements to the people of God as they camped on the plains of Moab prior to entering the Promised Land. Moses, in his old age, knew that he would not enter the land as a result of his sin in the wilderness. But God graciously allowed Moses to see the land and speak words of hope, grace, and encouragement to the nation prior to their crossing the Jordan River and entering the land of promise. Inspired by God, Deuteronomy serves as a testimony of God's grace, written by those who had experienced God's miraculous favor firsthand. In it, Moses recounts the national history of God's people, from their deliverance from Egypt to their rebellion on the brink of the Promised Land, to their subsequent sojourn in the wilderness for nearly 40 years. He reminds the nation of their sin and rebellion while consistently affirming God's covenantal faithfulness. Not only had God judged their sin, but he had also protected them in the wilderness and taught them to depend only on him for their daily survival. This historical backdrop contrasts with the future promises of God to the new generation. The people did not have to wallow in shame and self-pity. Rather, they could learn from the lessons of the past and trust God to fulfill his promises to them. The repetition of the word today throughout the book testifies to the forward-facing nature of Moses' exhortations. In this way, the book is about grace. God freely gave a stiff-necked people a relationship with him and the gift of the Promised Land apart from anything they had done. In fact, in spite of all they had done. As Moses looked over the people and toward the Promised Land on the horizon, he could die knowing that God was, is, and will always be faithful to his promises. The covenantal structure of the book reminded the people of God's covenant commitments and their subsequent responsibilities. For this reason, Deuteronomy is a foundational document on which the subsequent history of God's people rests. Moses knew full well that the people would prove incapable once again of keeping their covenant promises. That's why he pledged that God would raise up a future prophet from their midst to lead the people by his word. This future prophet, the Messiah, would declare the new covenant promises whereby God's people, Jew and Gentile alike, could claim the inheritance promised to Abraham long ago. Moses' prophecy was perfectly fulfilled by Jesus. See, the Lord your God has set the land before you. Go up, take the possession, as the Lord, the God of your fathers, has told you. Do not fear or be dismayed. Deuteronomy 1:21.